Welcome back. Time for another mailbag episode. And I've been putting this off for a little while because some of the items here are presents for people and I need to keep them a secret, obviously, until it's time to reveal the contents. So I decided to film this today, Christmas Eve, in the morning. And of course, once I show what these are, they're going to get wrapped up and, put aside for, tomorrow. I'm also doing this because I'm the only one in the house right now, and you'll see why in a moment. So obviously this episode, you're probably watching this after Christmas, which makes the most sense. And there'll be also a little Christmas special I'll be shooting right after I get done doing this. But anyway, let's get into this. So there's a little bit of a spoiler. You can see the top box up here does say LED light bar, and I'm actually going to open this in the order that I received it in, which would be the big super bright LEDs.com box in the bottom there. And the theme, I should say before I get any further, you can probably imagine, is LEDs. Everything here has to do with LED lighting in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the desk off. We'll start with the bottom box, and we'll see you guys in a moment when I readjust the camera. Okay, let's take a look at this super bright LEDs.com box. Now, these are items that I purchased, and by the way, everything in this video are items that I purchased. And take a quick look at this. Now, I've ordered from them before. They send you these stickers, which are actually pretty cool. I've only ever really bought accessories from them for LED installations. This is the first time actually buying LED lighting from them. And I'll show you what's here. There's no pricing information on this. I will put it down in the description below. I just really wanted to shoot this as quickly as possible given the time constraints, so I'll do all that in post-editing. But in here there should be 6 of these 8021 LED light bulbs. Now these are 110 watt equivalent. This is actually higher than I can find in my local store, which is one of the reasons why I bought this. And with this company, I do trust their products. I say that because they seem like they're a reputable company, and I know a lot of suppliers, even though they get their stuff from the same places in China, it seems like there is a quality difference with the premier companies versus what you can get on eBay. And I kind of wanted to put that to the test, which is why I did this. But we can see anyway, there are 1100 lumens, which is pretty nice, and I got them in the natural white. And I also got some retrofit kits. Now these are for recessed lighting, and you can see there's a bunch of boxes in here, and they're 1550 lumens, which is quite bright, and they fit a 5 to 6 inch fixture, and they say it's 155 watt equivalent. Again, this is much higher than I've seen in my local stores, and the prices I've got these for, I think they were $14.95, and you can pick between 3 different color choices, like cool white, natural white, and warm white. And natural, I think, is the middle of the line. And the reason why I got these, well, she has them already, so I can reveal what they are. This should be after Christmas. I'll put this up, like I said. I got these for my mom for her kitchen. And these, I'll show you, like I said, they're retrofits. So if you have recessed lighting, you would actually remove your old bulb and the little bezel on the outside, and you pop these in. And they're very popular. You find these, like I said, Home Depot, Lowe's, everyone carries them. But they're usually 75 watt equivalent or 85 watt. And she has the full spectrum incandescent lighting in her kitchen, which gives you a certain kind of color of light, a really nice natural sunlight type of light. And they're really high wattage, but the thing is, they're filled with like a neodymium gas, if I remember correctly. And they wear out pretty quickly. They have a very short lifetime, and they're not that cheap, but she needs them because she wants all the light she can because she has poor vision, as I mentioned times before in my episodes. So anything we can do to give her better lighting, I'm all for that. So I saw these and I said, you know what, let's give them a whirl and see what happens. Now I'm planning on having a little bit more of an in-depth video. I actually can show you that I have a couple units that I borrowed from the construction site I'm working on, and these were leftovers from packs that we bought that just had extras, so I just grabbed a couple of them just to compare them to super bright LED models, and we can see how they fare. And I also did this to see what the brightness differences were, and also to see what the color temperature differences were, because I have models from all the different temperature ranges. So I'll move that out of the way. No sense opening up the rest of these. They're obviously all the same thing. They are actually 20 watt LEDs. It says on the package here, just notice, and it has a 110 degree beam angle. And these are the standard bulbs. This one here says 120 volt AC, 12 watt, 240 degree beam angle, natural white. And yeah, it's just your standard bulb. I noticed the bottom here seems pretty heavy. I do have other bulbs, and it's a little larger, and it doesn't feel as heavy. This is much heavier. This isn't. I don't have a scale. I don't have a light meter. I don't have many things to make this a professional kind of comparison, but I can say, just for easy comparisons, we can just do the real cheapo, just by the eye, by the hand kind of thing. It would be nice to have all the professional meters and stuff like that, but for now, this is what we'll have to do. But yeah, so let me get this off the desk here, and we'll get into the next package. And behind that box was my Christmas display. As you see over here, we have our DIY Christmas tree I did in an earlier video, a blue star I made last night just sitting here, and the remnants of a dollar store Christmas tree light set that I have powered off my power supply. And I did do a little bit of an upgrade to the lab here. I could just briefly pan around and show. I did move the desk to the other side of the room, so I have this new area here now, which is a little bit different than how I had it set up before. And I'll do a whole full video of how I have this set up now. But yeah, let's get back to the mail review. Okay, I got this package in, and I had to open it because it sounded broken, and I said, uh-oh, because I knew what it was, and I said, that's not good, but it wasn't broken, spoiler alert. Actually, a full disclosure, I've actually opened up all this stuff, and I did test it out because it has been sitting here for a while. So certain things like the cheap LEDs versus the good LEDs, I can kind of confirm that now before going into a whole full episode about it later, but of course I will, because it needs to be shown. But well, let me just get everything out here, and we'll get into the meat of it. Now, these are LED work lights for a van or truck or anything like that, and you see these things all over the place. They're very common. So I wanted to see how cheap ones were on eBay, because, well, technically that's all I can afford right now, and I wanted to throw these on my work van and make some use of them, because I also use my work van, as I mentioned, for camping, and I want to have some kind of exterior lighting. Again, a whole nother subject for another video. But these guys, I have 4 of them. They're going to mount on the side of the van, and they're going to kind of pitch downward like this from the roof rack and light up the sides, left and right sides of the van. And then I have a longer one, which you'll see later on in this video, for the front and the rear. So they're pretty neat. They come with all the hardware, and that's what was rattling around in the box. But I did notice some of these have these blemishes on them, so I'm not sure if that's why they were as cheap as they were. Now, that information I don't have off the top of my head. That definitely is down in the description, and it turns out that the ones I purchased were cheaper than what they're currently selling them for, so there's probably definitely a reason for that. I can definitely tell you, for what these are, they're supposed to be 3 watt each. It doesn't pull the amperage that is suggested by that, and that's common to these cheap LEDs. When we do the shootout video later on, I'll try to hook up some kind of meter where we can test these guys at least and see if that's the case for the regular residential lighting. But for these guys here, I think it was 1.5 amps, and it wasn't anywhere near that. Again, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, so when we do a shootout, we'll have that information handy. But anyway, there's 4 of those, and I think they were either 2 sets of 2 that I purchased or 1 set of 4. I really don't remember. But anyway, the rest of the stuff that was in that package are these loose LEDs, and these are for vehicle lighting. I bought these because I have 2 lights out in the front of my van, and they're not quite daytime running lights. They're just little white indicator lights, more or less. And I was going to replace these with the LED version. Now these are the 50/50 style LEDs, and you can see there's one on each face and then one at the top. And it looks like there's a resistor down at the bottom inside here, just a little surface mount resistor. I did try to take one of these apart, it was pretty easy. And there's a whole bag of them here, tend to be specific. And yeah, so they seem like they're pretty nice so far. I plugged them in, not too bad. There's a bunch of these dome light style things. These are the Festoon style lights. Same thing with the 50/50. And I think it's a pack of 4 there. And then this is actually a gift for somebody. This is for my wife's car. These are lighting retrofits for all the interior lights in her 2012 Honda Civic. And it's a whole kit. Now we were driving around the other day and I was just kind of eyeing them up and just to see where I thought they would fit. And I think I know where these 3 fit, but the rest of them I had to kind of figure out. What the best thing to do is I had to find out what a list of what goes where. They didn't really tell you in the description. You find out from the owner's manual, and then you can get a cross-reference to what sizes these are. Is what I'll have to do. My car and my van, I know that I can fit one of these in the cargo light area, and I believe the other 3 go in my map lights. And I think I could use some of these elsewhere in the van too. Those will all be separate videos. I'll show the installation of them. We'll even go through, power them up. If you put these on low power, like if you run low current through, like I'm doing here with my blue LED star, they don't all light up evenly. Some are much brighter than others. Like you can actually see some of the chips, and that's indicative of cheap chips on here basically. It doesn't really matter when they're all at full brightness, but from what I hear from other YouTubers who do that little bit of a test, they say that the ones that usually run brighter when you're running low current through them are the ones that are going to burn out quicker. We'll see the longevity of it. I can attest to having a good LED. This one up here in my desk lamp's been in this lamp for over 5 years, I'd have to say, and it still runs great. I use it daily, and I have purchased cheap LEDs recently to put next to us, like a cool white, warm white, and I did the low voltage test on both of them, the low current test I should say, and this one had all nice even elements within the actual LED itself, and the cheap one did not, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Alright, so there's not much more to say about this, so I'll get the large box out. We could take a look at what's in that thing. Of course, my cat Tigger has bigger plans. And I should mention that the previous items you were looking at and these items were all from the same eBay seller. And no, that was not the only present I got from my wife. I just happened to notice they were selling such a kit when I purchased these other items and threw it in the cart, because I was thinking of her. So this is the LED light bar that's in the top box, and I will get the specs for that in just a moment here, but I can show you that this is a curved LED light bar if I show it versus my straight desk here. And I purchased this to be rear lighting on the back of my work van. This is going to shine outward towards the back doors, downward on a slight angle. And this one here also has 3-watt LEDs. However, I can power off my benchtop power supply. Now that's only putting out 10 amps, and according to the math, I think the larger one can't power it because it's like 24 amps or something like that draw at full current. And on the math, this one did not pull that much power. I think it was only 2 amps. So if you think about it, those small lights I showed earlier are supposed to draw 1.5 amps, and this was drawing a little over 2. So that's a little bit sketchy. But you know what? I went and purchased these knowing that they're probably not like superstar items. And I don't take this van off-roading, obviously, so I don't need like super reliable, awesome, heavy-duty lighting that's going to, get me out of situations. I'm just looking for lighting for the couple times I go camping to have area lighting, and if I'm working in or near my van in some kind of a dark environment, like for example the construction site I'm up at State. I want to be able to have lighting when I'm coming out of the van. I should back up and say, in an earlier mailbag episode, I got a device in that I actually have sitting right here, and this is a remote control relay set. You can see there's a little remote in here, and this can control 4 different devices with this remote, and there's 2 key fobs in here. What I plan on doing is having these exterior lights being controlled by this remote, so I can actually, let's say, take the van shopping somewhere like in a dark parking lot or whatever, and as I'm walking up to the van I can hit this button and have these lights shine on and turn on and, you know, light the whole perimeter of this van up like, you know, daylight is what I'm trying to go for. And this was basically the cheapest way of doing it without, you know, breaking the budget. So the large box is the exact same light as this, except it's much longer. I think it's a 50-inch and this is like a 28-inch. And the funny thing is, if memory serves me correctly, this was like $32 for the large one, and this one was not much cheaper, maybe even a little more or something, the way it worked out. And they both have free shipping. It was kind of weird, but you go on there now, there's shipping prices incurred for both of these. And it must have been like a one-off, or maybe these were faulty, who knows. This one lit so far. Other things in the box, well, you get mounting hardware, but it didn't come with an actual harness or anything. And it said it did, but when I opened the larger box, there were 2 harnesses in there. So I don't know if that was an aftersight, an overthought, or whatever. But here's one of the harnesses, and I'm not going to use this. If I was just using the singular light or the other, just maybe one or both of the lights, I might. But since I'm going to have a lot of stuff running, I'm going to actually make a custom harness. And again, that'll be subject for another video. There's a lot of more parts I have to get in. Now, I should say, all the stuff from this particular purchase, this eBay purchase, I purchased with money I got from my birthday. So this was like a present to myself, I guess you could say, from that money. And then the other stuff I picked up from the purchase were from other people. The super bright LEDs, that's a whole nother thing, but that's another thing. Anyway, so the harness I'm going to make up is going to be very custom. It's going to be a 4-channel relay bank with these larger relays, because my little remote control unit won't work with that. It's too much current draw, supposedly. I need big beefy cables like this coming out of here. You can see there's a nice large cable coming out of here, but again, based upon my experience so far, it's not drawing nearly what it's supposed to. But the idea is what I'm going to do. This one here, you can see there's a switch. You push this, it turns the relay on and off, which engages the light. This hooks to your battery. Simple harness. It even comes with a fuse. My thing is going to be a switch bank inside the vehicle with 8 different switches, and they're going to all control different things. And I'll be able to control these lights in the van right from the driver's seat from a switch. What I have to do is, if I want to use the remote control, I'll turn the switch on, the lights will come on, and then I use the remote to shut them off. Then that way, when I'm out and about, I can actually use the remote to turn them back on again. And then when I get in the van, I could just kill all the switches. And the reason why I did that was because I can operate the lights independently without the remote. If I wire it the other way, you have to have a remote to turn them on all the time. If you lose the remote or something, you have no way of turning those lights on. And that's just a real brief synopsis of what we're going to do, but it's way more complicated than that, hence why it needs a separate video. I will open the other box here. We could take a look what's inside that one and just compare them size-wise. All right, well, there's the larger bar. You can see it is quite large. And initial impressions, they do look like really nice units. Now, I actually bought these just sight unseen. I just purchased them based upon the description and everything else and the price. I said, how can I go wrong? $32 or whatever it was. And I said, just go buy them, you know, what's the worst that could happen? And then I started watching some other YouTube videos after I had received them, and because I was trying to figure out how to install them. And they said, oh, you got to be careful, you got to seal them, you got to do this, you got to do that. So we might actually open these up and do a tear down of them and see how well they're sealed. They were saying to go in here with some kind of clear caulking, wherever this is, or take this off and run it inside. There's a variety of different ways to go about doing that. And I think it might not be a bad idea just for insurance wise, for myself, just to know that they're insulated great. But the curiosity got the better of me, and I wanted to see what kind of current draw this would take, and I said, based upon math, 12 volts, 3 watts a piece, it's supposed to be like I said, 24 amps if I remember correctly. And my little 10 watt power supply, my little 10 amp power supply I should say, shouldn't be able to power this, but it does. It doesn't like it too much. You can hear the fan kick in a little bit faster. This is that modded computer power supply, but yeah, it does indeed light it, and it's bright. I'm not going to deny that. It definitely is bright. I can see it compared to the daylight here in my room, but that should not be able to power that based upon the correct current draw. If you pump low current into it, this power supply is putting in 27 milliamps. You can light up all the little elements in here individually, and you can see how they glow. Now I'll have to shut my camera lighting off over here, and you can see there is indeed some kind of a glow. And each one of these has 3 light emitting elements to the LED module itself. So I should be able to pitch into here, and you should be able to see what I'm talking about, hopefully. You might be able to pick up the 3 individual segments here. Like this one over here to the left is probably the most prevalent. They actually are the same intensity the whole way through in this strip. So that's a good sign, but they're definitely not getting the power that they're supposed to be putting out. Now there is a difference here I can show you on the ends. These are spotlights right here, and these are floodlights, so they disperse the light differently. And I've actually put a white piece of paper up in front of it, and you can see the difference on there. One thing worth mentioning is one of these harnesses is just a little bit nicer than the other. You can see this one here has heat shrinking around the whole assembly over here for the relay, where this one didn't. I thought that was interesting. You can see all the kind of little bare wires sticking out there. And just, I don't know, I'm sure the rest of it's similar, but that seemed like one thing that they forgot to do. The rest of it looks the same. Possibly different manufacturer on the relay, but it is what it is. And for size comparisons, you can see how these fare. Now, like I said, there's going to be 2 of these per side of the van. More of my work's going to be done in the rear of the van, and it's good to have a front-facing light, so that's why I went with this route. And that's all I have to add to this video at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the gifts that I need to get taken care of, so that's out of the way, and then I'll probably have time to shoot another little video talking about some of the other little kits that I purchased over here. We can see them lit up real quickly, and I'll do the shootout video of those other guys as well. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.